guys, happy Friday. Welcome to our Sunny Scallop Stitched Bracelet class. It is a really fun design. I'm just gonna hit my buttons really quick here. And the stitch that we're gonna use today is primarily brick stitch, but it's using stacks of 2, and it's worked with 8/0 seed beads, so it works up really fast, and you get a very bold cuff when you're done. So I'm gonna hold it up really quick to show you the scale. It is like a really good statement cuff. And the colors are divine. The beads you're seeing here are from the new Czech Permalux collection. And those colors are just so saturated and so wonderful that when you stitch them up like this, it just really highlights them and they really shine in a design like this. So I hope you will love it as much as I do. A super meditative stitch, super fun. If you don't already have it, there is a downloadable PDF. And that's being dropped in the chat right now by David. And you can also find all of the materials that I'm using today in that PDF. They're listed here. And so that's all documented. But as we get going, I'm going to show you that you can change it up, of course. Like so many of our designs, there's lots of ways you can modify and change the colors and all that. So if you're ready to get started, I've got everything here on the mat. I'm just going to turn on my bright lights so we can see really well. And what is shown here is I wanted to show you how much it uses of every tube, as I know that that will help out somebody. And getting started, this one is the original sample that you see in the handout. And I'm going to get you a link on this really quick. So it is a 7-inch bracelet when it's got the clasp on it. And it uses a pretty good percentage of the bead tube here. So I would say a little more than half of the 2 colors that run on the sides, and then a little less than half of the color that runs in the middle. So I used about a little less than half there. Hard to tell with the label, but easier if you flip it over. And so if you need to make if you'd like to make more than one in the same colorways, for example, you may need a couple more of the edge color tubes to get the entire design done. But it'll absolutely will make one with lots of extra. So just with 3 tubes. These are 13-gram tubes. And again, these are size 8 Czech Permalux. So I was going to walk you guys step by step how to make this and then how to put on the clasp. The clasp I'm using is a connector spacer bar. And so you can probably get away with switching this out to other things. I know there's some really cool new half moon connectors, and those will work too. I saw those in store. I have not done the measuring myself, but I can do that later if someone needs me to. Just message me and I'll see because I think I have a pack of those. I just grabbed some. But these I've had for a little while, and they were what I had on hand at the time when I was working on this originally, and it actually was perfect measurement wise. So that's where I went with those, and that part number is in the handout. And then if you want to have some fun with embellishing the ends, there's a really pretty strand that I used to get those little flowers off. And I have my leftovers here. It had these little kind of like lampwork bees on it. And how cute would that be also with this color? So that's in the handout too, if you liked that. I just wanted to make sure I included it. And then whatever you want to use for a clasp, I used some lobster claw. And then I made a chain. I actually did my own version of a chain, and I'll go through this at the end, where I kind of combined 6mm and 4mm. And on the 6mm, I put a bead. So it embellished it out and made it look really cute. And then last but not least, I made a charm with that bead strand I just showed you using a head pin, and then just dropped that with a jump ring onto the end of the connector there. So this was fun. I went to town with it because I enjoyed making this one a lot. And so today I'm going to show you step by step how to start and finish it. I have a surprise colorway I'll just show you right now because I'm excited. So I tried something new. This is also the Czech Permalux, and I did that with, I think this one is called charcoal or gray. Yeah, it's just like a gray matte. So I went gray matte, and then this one is the mint, and this one is the light pink. That is a super trendy spring, really modern looking to me. Like, I just think that's so cool. So if you want
like
to just
a
have
neon look.
I know, isn't it neat? I love these colors. This came
Yeah.
out so cool. And there's a bunch more colors where these came from. If you're in your Michael store and you just look at the wall, it'll be just so much bright colors, right? It'll draw your eye to it. And you'll see all these things you can combine, come up with your own palette. And 3 colors is what I did in this design. But you could always change it up too. You could have less than 3 colors, more than 3 colors. Super easy to modify. Um, and then last but not least, I am using Wildfire. I used Frost in the 0.006 size, and I'm using a size 11 beading needle. All right, so let's just dive in. As far as how much thread to cut, I think I gave an estimate in here that said long strand, leaving a 15-inch tail. And so what I mean by long strand is you're going to add thread. It's, let's see, on this one, I've already added thread once. And I think I added it like right here. So it's going to definitely need you to add thread at least one time. So based on that, just cut a length that's comfortable for your arm. So you're not having to pull thread through, multiple times every time you add a bead. It'll add a lot of time to your work. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to cut a comfortable length for me. I'm doing about a wingspan and a half or so, or 1 arm's length and a half. I'm just going to trim that there. Okay. And then, as always with Wildfire, it'll help you thread your needle if you can flatten the end of the thread. So I do that every class right before I get started, just make it easier for me to get that needle on. There's the needle here. And then just pull down a lot. Pull down, let's see, probably like 10 inches or so. I always just kind of eyeball it based on how much strand I have left. So not that much. That's probably 7 inches or so. You could do more if you've cut a longer strand. And then for your beads, take a look at the design here. And hang on, I'm just going to close my keyboard tray. Guys have that bump in there. You want to lay out your beads in the order you're going to string them. So for example, I decided my edge beads were the brown matte color. So that's my S8A, size 8A. And then I went with the matte orange, so my size 8B. And then the yellow was my C. So I just dump them out on the mat in that order. And I'll put those over here. These colors are so pretty. They're really gorgeous. All right. And once you've got that ready to go, you want to pick up 4 seed beads in your color A. And just bring this down just a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't throw it off too much. So start with 4.
Kathy asks, like, is there like a special size of needle you would recommend to do this? Or does
Yeah,
it depend
use
on
a
the bead
size,
size?
either a size 11. You could also use size 10 or size 12 beading needle.
Okay.
And then as far as the tail, this is something I know I mentioned it just really quick, but 15-inch tail, the reason we want a little extra is we're going to use the tail to join to one of the bars. So you want to have a little extra length left at the beginning. So I'm going to leave about 15 inches there.
Clever, clever.
Thanks. And then you just want to come along and go through the first 2 beads. So we strung them this way. This is the tail side. And this is the side my needle's on. And I'm just going in a circle, coming around and going through the first 2. So we're just going to ladder stitch the first 2 stacks of 2. And what happens when you pull that tightly is the beads will pop next to each other like that. So that's what you're going for. And then you'll just bring that needle, after you get them to pop into that position, do that first, and then bring your needle through the second 2. Sure, there we go. Through the second 2 like that. And I'm just going to tighten this again because I loosened that. And there we go. So there's your first ladder. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch to color B, which is that orange matte color, and go back through. With a ladder stitch, just in case anyone's new to laddering, whichever direction your thread is coming out, you want to go back through the beads from the other side. And that'll be the top half of the time and the bottom the other half of the time. But the goal is just you're making a circle to go around and ladder stitch that together. I'm just going to hold that really tightly and get that one to sit right next to it. So just like that. And you're going to come up through the beads that we just added. But you always want to tighten them first before you go back through them, because you want to get them to pop into that position. I'm going to do 2 more orange. And this time our thread's exiting from the top, so we're going to come around and go through the bottom from this side. And then pull tightly. I've been having to help them just a little bit, but only on this step. So just like that, and then come back through those beads. So you're just making a circle, really. You're just going in a big circle. Let's switch to yellow now, sorry. And so the first row, you just do 2 of everything. And then on the way, on the other side, we'll finish it in the reverse order with 2 of each, orange and brown. So going up through this one. I'm going to speed up a little bit, but if I'm losing anybody, just let me know. I'm just going to pop those into place. And one tip I want to give is sometimes when you go to bring your needle through those beads you just added, it loosens up your previous work. So if you want, before you continue through it, you can just tighten the thread coming out of the other side, right? And that'll help it stay all a little bit tight. But another thing I want to mention is this is going to get reinforced when you put the clasp on as well. You'll go back through all of these again when you're adding that edge bar. So there's the center all done. Let's just work out to the edge. So we're going back to orange now. 2 orange beads. I'm gonna go back through these 2 here. So there's those. And I'm gonna do 2 more oranges. So far, so good. And then back to 2 of the brown color. So far, so good, just ladder stitching. And this is diagrammed in the PDF, just in case if I'm going a little too fast, you can see this step by step in the handout. And I'll bring that over and show you here in just a minute. Okay, so there's all those pieces done. And that's our laddered row. So what that looks like here in the picture is just right there. So we should have 2 of each, 2 in the center, and then 2 on the other side. Okay, so now we're gonna do a series of brick stitches. And so brick stitch is really easy, but I'm gonna introduce what a thread bridge is really quick in case anybody needs to see that. And a thread bridge, it looks like this on the top of the work that we just created. And so what you want to do is you'll bring your needle underneath after you've picked up the beads. And the placement, so the place where you go under the thread bridge, when you hear us say first thread bridge, second thread bridge, we're talking about right here would be the first one. And this would be the second one. And so that's the ones in this particular pattern, that's really all you have to worry about, was first and second. thread bridges. So we've got that figured out. And so for the next row, it's going to be an increase row. So it'll increase on the starting and the finishing side. This is a great pattern to learn brick stitch on because you have the luxury of working with the large seed beads. So this is a great way to see it. What we have here is 4. So in a brick stitch row, I usually start with 4, especially if you're doing stacks. There's ways you can start it with just the first beads or set of beads, but it's a lot harder to do when you're stacking. So I always just start with the first 2. And so what it looks like in the handout is you're looking at the first 2 beads here. We're picking up all 4 and we're treating them, these stacks of 2, like 1 bead, if that makes any sense. And so we're going to go under the first thread bridge. And what that's going to do is it's going to pop those beads out in an increase. And that's what's going to give us our wave. So here we go. We got 4 beads on. And then I'm going to go under the first thread bridge. So that's the one right here. And just pull that tight. And you see how they just pop right in place? This is even before we've gone through the bead. It just pops right into place. So what we want to do now is come up through that second stack of 2. So just those 2 right there. And pull really tightly so that everything like just really tightens up for you. And you'll notice I was working over here and I just kind of flipped it. If you are more comfortable working right to left or left to right, this pattern is symmetrical, so it won't throw you off. You can just go ahead and flip the work in your hand and it will be the same going left or right. So we finished the first 2 in color brown. So now I'm gonna just pick up 2 color orange. The rest of the row in brick stitch, you just go with singles instead of, you'll always start with double and then end with the rest of the row with a single bead. And in our case, our single bead is the stack of 2. So second thread bridge. It's going to go under that. And then just come up. See, it's just starting to take shape. Second thread bridge. Sorry, third thread bridge with this one. And then when you reach the center, so on increase rows, I put 3 stacks of the yellow. So whatever your middle color is, on increase rows, you're going to be putting 3 sets. So we're going to go under the next thread bridge right here. And then the next one. So there's our midpoint. That's the middle thread bridge. Here's the next one. And so that concludes the orange, sorry, the yellow color. I'm going to switch to orange to finish off the row. Here we go. It's loosening up on me just a little bit, but that'll still work out. There we go. Okay, 2 more orange. And under that second to last thread bridge. And now we need to switch to brown. And now we have only 1 thread bridge remaining, but here's why that's okay. I'm going to show you really quick. And our tail might start to get in the way here, so let's make sure that doesn't happen. I need to feed that back through. If you want, you can weave it down into the adjacent bead before this step, but either way, you can weave it down here or later. I'm just kind of holding it out of the way. All right. So here's what we've got so far. We've got, and that's just the tail thread. Let me just move that so it doesn't confuse. We have our increase row with 2 beads to start. And we worked it all the way to the end. We got to the end where we have our last thread bridge is used up by those last 2, but we want to put on 2 more. So it's actually really easy to do. You just grab 2 more. And so 2 more of the brown seed beads. And just share that last thread bridge again. And to find it, because we just covered it up with those beads, it's a little tricky to find it, but if you just lay the work kind of this way, and you can kind of see it, it's easier to see like that, I think. And just bring your needle, even if you want, you can go kind of like just in between these beads here to find it. So you can even just bring your needle right through the middle like that. And then just push it up. And now you know you've got that thread bridge. And so when you pull tight, the beads will just kind of pop right there like that. And then you just want to come up through those 2 beads that we just added and pull tightly. And so you should get that. And that's an increased row. That's all there is to it. If you want, right now we can get rid of our tail. Let's do that. So currently the tail it's headed up out of this bead, like in this direction. And so what I'm going to do really quick is just thread on another needle. And if you wanted, you could do this first, but I like to do it here because I want to be exiting from this edge stack. And so it'd be kind of hard to turn through this one to find my way back there. But now that I have a row to turn into, all I got to do is go up through this one here. Either will work, this one or the one on the very edge. Whichever one you choose, go down through the other one. So in this case for me, it's my edge one. And now I can be exiting from this side. So depending how you started your ladder, most likely you'll end up where I did. And so now you've got your tail ready for putting the clasp on later. And we've got our next row ready to go with our working thread on that side. So for now, I'm just going to lose that needle so I don't really lose that needle. Pull that off there. Okay. So now we have a decrease row. Does everyone feel okay about the increase? We can do it again. If for some reason I lost anybody, we'll do a decrease row and we'll do another increase row after that. And Felicia was just dropping a reminder in the chat that it is a recorded class too. So that anything I'm doing now, you'll be able to watch in a replay in a way where you can stop it and pause it and slow it down. Okay, so once you feel good about that row, let's start a decrease row. It starts the same. You just want to pick up 4 beads like we did starting the last one. So there's our 4. And remember last time we started in the first thread bridge? That will create another increase. So in this case, we want to decrease. So I'm going to go under the second thread bridge with this. So just underneath that second one there. And then we'll just pull tightly and then come up through the second 2 beads. So those right there. And what you'll get will look like this. So it's clearly decreasing, but sometimes, especially working with a stack, that first bead, and even working with singles, it does this. It will start to kind of maybe have an angle to it. And if you want to fix that, you don't have to, because it's still going to form a wave for you, but it may not match the finished side over here. The finished side over here is going to be, you know, vertical, whereas this one has got a little bit of a lean to it. So I actually on mine took the extra time to go back through it. So let me show you what I did. I go back through those first 2 and then just pull down. And do you see the first thread bridge under there, the one we skipped? You can get under it the same way that we've been getting under the increased end. And then when you get under there, it should pull those beads over. And then head up through the second bead. Again. And that would probably still work even if you just went back down to the first two and they came up the second. The thread bridge is just extra security, makes it a little stronger. So there's our decrease, and it's subtle, so you get that pretty little wave. That's what working with these round beads in stacks like that makes a really nice little kind of rounded edge look. I was really impressed by how that came out when I first tried it. So I picked up my next two colors, which are orange, and I went under the next thread bridge, which is our third thread bridge. I'm just gonna come up through those beads there. There's those. All right, and I need another set of my orange beads. So here's two more. And then you'll see there's another thread bridge open right next to it. Just gonna go through that next one right there. Pull tight. There's that. So now we're in a decrease row. So we're gonna only need two of our yellow in the middle. There's two, next thread bridge. Those. Two more. All right, so there's in this case, our midpoint was those two beads, those two stacks. And so now I'm switching to orange. So far, so good. See, it's starting to take shape. All right, so this is almost done. We're gonna do two more stacks of the brown color, and that will finish this row. And we have a thread bridge for everyone in a decrease row, so that works. There it is. So there's your first little scallop segment. All ready to go. So there is another couple of demo rows that I think I'll do just to make sure everybody can see everything. And then after that, I'll check in with you guys and see if you want to see anything again, or if you want to go on to the clasp. So we're making really great time. So there's plenty of time. If you have questions, feel free to ask. All right, and so let's do another increase row from here. So we'll just need another set of 4 of our color A. Got those there. And again, we're increasing, so we're gonna go into the first thread bridge. There's the first one. And then you just want to come up through the second 2 beads that we added. And it'll make the little pop out. And then we can switch to orange. And bring that under the second thread bridge there. A little hard to see, but it's right there. And here's the next 2. Okay, and so now I'm going to switch to yellow. There's 1. And remember, this is an increase row, so we're going to have 3 of those yellows. This is our middle thread bridge here. And you'll just see it, you know, like as you're going, it'll obviously pop out for you. You won't have to really think about it. And this is a really relaxing design. You know, there's some stitches out there where you have to focus a lot more on the tension or like how they're lining up, especially rope stitches, right? But like this one, this is a chill stitch. You just, you know, you can listen to a podcast while you're working and it works up in no time. And the result is so glamorous that I really enjoy these kind of projects for that reason. They just keep your hands busy, just busy enough, but you can still kind of do other stuff too. So there's that row. But we still need the extra bead that goes on the end. So here's our next stack of 2. And once again, I'm just gonna show finding that thread bridge because we have to share it. We're sharing with the last stack. So the easiest way to find it is to just bring your needle in between the stack below. So like right there. And then just push up so that it's right underneath the thread bridge there. If your needle won't push up, bring the thread through and then pull the thread up. And then make sure your thread stays above that bead. That one right there. Sometimes it'll try to hug it right there. So just you'll see it immediately, but just watch for it. And there we go. Increase row all set. And then let me start another decrease row just so you guys can see that one more time. So to start, you still have to pick up a 4 of your color A, but this time you'll go under the second of your thread bridges right here. And then come up through the last 2 beads. And then once again, you're going to have that little slanting. And so the best way to fix that is to just go back down through the first 2. And then just bring your needle. You can kind of do this in one swoop. That's what I like to do. Bring your needle like this here at the back. So let me try that one more time. So kind of like that. And then just push it through those beads there. And you got the thread bridge. One swoop like that. And then you can just come up through these beads. And there's your decreased start row. And then from there, you just carry on with 1 stack per thread bridge to the end of the row. And that is the entire pattern for this bracelet. You just do that over and over again, alternating increase row with your decrease rows. And then you can just, as you're working it, you can just measure it as you go. If it's for you, it's the easiest. You just take and measure it and say, oh, look, if it's pretty good. And then you know that you've got to put a clasp on it. So in my case, I think I would probably maybe want to give this one more finished couple of rows. But in general, what you want to do is make sure you end with a decrease row. And that's just for symmetry with how we started it for starters. But then also, if you're using the connector that I'm using, it's just the right width. So ending with a decrease row, any length that you'd like. So let's see, how's everyone doing out there? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Valerie says she loves both bracelets. Thanks, Valerie. Does anyone want to see the stitches more? Or should I put a clasp on? If there's anyone who's still feeling like they want to see a few more stitches, we do have time. So let's see if I can get the chat up over here. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like there's many requests. I don't see any requests yet to keep demoing that. Yeah, Rhonda says she's good. Okay, so let's just focus on showing the connection with the clasp, which is also super, super easy. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Let's go ahead and get my, I feel like silver goes really nicely with this one. So I'm going to save my gold one for when I finish that. So I'll have one on gold and one on silver, but you can do, they both look great. See, there's silver, there's gold. Any color would be fine. Let's use silver on this one though. I'm feeling silver for that. Okay. Okay. And so, let's see, let's start with this side because I already have a needle on it. So that's handy. Okay. So you see they line right up. And let me bring the handout over just so I can show a little more detail of what we're doing. In both cases, remember how we moved the tail so it'll be exiting from one side and our working thread's obviously going to be coming out of the last bead that we added, the last stack of 2. So here we're just going to exit from that bead, go through the connector, and then super simple, we're just going to do a little weave around. And when you get over here, we could pick up this thread bridge that is above these 2 to give us a way to turn back. And that's really all there is to it. Then we'll weave in. And weaving in is also the way you add thread. So I'll show that so that you can see how to add thread as well. All right, so let's take a look at where we are here. We're exiting from that edge bead. And here's our connector. It's super easy. You're just going to go through the connector, bring that down, and then I'm going to go through the next bead. And when I say bead, I'm referring to going through both of them, because I'm just treating those stacks as one bead. And let's pull that tight. There you go. And get that to sit right where we want it. And so let's see, how can I show you a little closer to the camera? I usually work this step on the mat, but I bet you this will work too if I do that. Okay, so we've got that done. And I want to head up through the adjacent beads. So both of those. And then come up through the connector. And then down to the next set. And so what'll start to happen is it'll just position those really perfectly, just like that. And definitely we're going to want to reinforce this, of course, because it's going to be something that needs some strength, right? Come up through the middle one. But so far so good. Really, really easy, super simple. Oops. I want to go through that one. I'm just keeping track of where I am. I'm really excited that I didn't mix up my increase and decrease rows. But I figured someone in the chat would shout, hey. So I wasn't super worried about it, but still kind of excited that I got that. Because when I was working on it earlier this morning on this one, I kept doing decrease rows in a row and forgetting to increase. I was doing that over and over. So yeah, it happens if you start really spacing out while you're working on it. So there we go. Okay, so there's one pass. And just make sure that the tension's good.
Does that need to be done twice for strength or for it to be sturdy?
Yeah, it does. We're going to go back through it, but there's just our first pass. And that's nice because it's going to stay put for the second part. The best way
Gotcha.
to get back through to where we want to be is we're going to need to borrow the thread bridge that's above these 2 stacks here and use it to turn. That's the easiest way. So what you'll want to do is kind of what we were doing before. Just bring your needle just in between that stack that's below it, right? And pull through. And then just kind of help your thread pop up in between the 2. And now you know you've caught that thread bridge that is over those 2 beads. And now we're where we need to be. Head right back up through the bead we were just coming down from. So
And also, Sandy asked, would it be possible to put some 11-Os on and use a slide clasp?
I'm sure you could. Yeah, there's probably a dozen ways we could do this for sure. This was just the easiest one. I came up with in the moment. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great connectors right now in store. So I would suggest like walking through there and seeing what inspires you. And there's going to be, I've never met a connector I can't connect to my beadwork somehow, some way. You know, that's actually part of the engineering challenge. So if you're one of those folks that likes a puzzle, you know, for me, that's part of the appeal of beading is finding something I love and making it work by trying different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, if you're ever stuck, we have a Facebook group and you can post your work there and ask questions. And either I'll pop in there and answer, or as is usually the case, one of our knowledgeable beaders in the group pops in and answers it excellently. So a lot of resources at your fingertips there. And so all I'm doing, guys, here is I'm just going back through. And this is making it extra strong.
Certified sturdy.
Yeah. Yeah, it works out really well. And you know, as you're working through it, you might notice a few things about the one that I have in my hand here has see how these are making little like triangle shapes? I thought that was, you know, secure looking and really, really good. If you wanted all the thread to be going the same direction, the trick to that is, you remember how I was coming up from behind the connector and then going down to the next one? You would need to reverse that as you head back the other way. But I actually really like that. You see what I mean? How this one's like going this way. So if I wanted it to stay like that, you see how I'm bringing this bead up here? And what I've been doing is I've been kind of poking it behind the connector in one swoop, right? I'm just kind of going behind it. That's giving me the triangle. Because remember, we were coming from behind and then going down. But if it was important to you that it go the same direction, you could just come up from in front and cross that same path by going from front to back and then down to the side. See, and that would overlay it in the same thread path. But you know what? I kind of liked it the triangle. So I'm going to go behind my connector. And that's just honestly like being completely picky about it. No one but you will see that. I promise. No one but you will see it. So here's our
Classified.
I know, yeah. Well, no, it's just beaders are the most critical people of their own work. I think in any industry that, I mean, I'm not going to say of every industry because I don't know for sure, but I know we're picky folks when it comes to looking at our own work. But then we see our friends' work and we're like, oh my God, that's great. That's beautiful. But with our own work, we're just so mean to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
But
irony.
yeah. But the perfectionist, the beater is it's a common ailment, I would say. Anyway, so there's how to do the triangle shape there. And I that's what I've been going for. I like that. So if you like that too, that's what I've been doing. Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly show weaving in. We're doing still pretty good on time. So, and this is how you add thread as well. You would just bring your thread in to any position in the work and then just weave around until you make a few turns. So let me show you the turns. So we're gonna go down through a few beads. And this, it does not matter what beads you go through. If you are working with, so for example, let's say this is where my thread ran short, you would leave that working thread in place and then just weave around and come up to meet it and then create new rows. And after those new rows are created, take that old working thread and weave it up into those. And that's just so that you can maintain how flowy and bendy it is. But it doesn't matter where you do that weaving in. What I mean by that is it doesn't matter as far as like anywhere here will work. And it doesn't, as long as you can get to where you want to be, right? So I just went down through this one. So I'm going to pick up a couple thread bridges. So the cool thing about brick stitch is you can really lock in your thread by doing turns using the thread bridges. So just pick a spot. In this case, I'm going in between these two because the thread is coming out of that one. I'm just going to go between those. Go ahead and just pull that all the way through. And then same as we were doing when we did our turn, right? Just going to pull till it pops up under the thread bridge. Go right back through that same bead. And if you push your needle kind of up against the beads, kind of like you're looming, you know you won't go under the thread bridge again. If you do, it'll just pop out of the bead. You'll catch that right away too. The reason I like doing those turns is I don't have any, you see how when you bend this, you don't see any thread in between the beads at all? Doesn't that look cool? If we did turns like this, you're gonna see your thread. Let me just show you really quick. So I'm referring to that right there. Again, that's and only you're gonna notice that thing, but the other person, I would say person, the other person who will notice that is your camera. So if you're someone who photographs your work and you want to do like a layout of it, or you're going to send it to a photographer and have them do it, you need to maybe hide your thread more. So that to me is like showing too much. So that's why I like to use my thread bridges. So pull that up through there. So let's go through a bead here. And you can use the thread bridges to turn in either direction. So I just want to show that one time. So far we've been working down, but you can also use the ones above. So in this case, I'm exiting out of these two right here. You can just go in between those, the ones above it, right? Bring that through. And then pop that thread straight down. And you go right back through that bead. And so those turns will lock in your thread invisibly. It makes it really easy to add thread anywhere in the work that you want. And it's also a really great way to add on if you were doing other types of brick stitch work where you wanted to build onto the top of it. There's lots of different places you can take a design like this. So now I'm just going through a bunch of beads and I'm going to trim it. Watch out for tangles. Okay. All right. So if you have a burner, burners are great here. If you want to use scissors, that's fine too. You just pull up on your thread and push down with the scissors on your work. And then it just cuts it. And there we go. It's right vanished on there really nicely.
Clean.
Okay, so let's see. How are we doing on time? We're pretty good. Does anyone want to see how to do the little chain really quick? I can pull that together really quickly, I think. Yeah, Sharon says, yeah, we're always hard on ourselves. That is true. Listen, true of all artists, I would imagine, if I really think about it. Probably all artists are like that. We are bead artists / bead engineers. So what I'm getting right now is actually I actually have 5mm in my hand. That might have just been an accidental grab, or it is actually what I use. Let's look. Ah, I did use 5mm. Sorry, earlier I misnomered them as 4. So I'm using 5 and 6, but 4 would work fine. We're just going for dimension so that the chain looks kind of like, and this was just me being artsy. I thought that looked kind of cool. And then a few of these. So let's get a bunch of those. Okay, so what I did, let me grab my pliers from in here. I'm using some square nose. And then I'm going to use some bent nose. That's just my jump ring go-to way of opening and closing. So these are my bent nose pliers. And these are chain nose, but they have a little bit of a broader nose on them. So and they're flat inside like a chain nose plier. Chain nose pliers are great too. Those all work great. And then I've got these beads out, so let's build it with my original colorway. And how I did it was I created the chain separately, and then at the end I just linked it with one 5mm jump ring there. So, but what I did to do that embellishment and have it kind of work out where everything fits together is take the 6mm jump ring. So that's the larger one there. Find the seam on it and get that open. So just like that. And let's put 2 beads on the bottom. This one will be our bottom one. And on the bottom, I went ahead and put 2 little beads. So we've got 1 and 2. And then this is where those bent nose pliers really shine, because you can use them to help you close. And I'm just wiggling it to make sure I got that nice and closed. So there's one link done. Let's build another one. And on each of these, I'm just going to put a single seed bead now. And I'm using these like a needle, so hang on, I'm going to bring the mat over. Sorry if it's a little fuzzy, but I want to show how I'm getting the seed beads on there. I'm holding them in the pliers like that and literally just picking them up. And that seems like it would be harder, but it's not. It's actually kind of easy. They just like popped right on there for me. So I went with it. And go ahead and close that up nice and tight. If you get that click, that's a bonus. Let's make a couple more. I can't remember how many I did on this one. I did actually a lot on this one. I would need to make 3 more. Let's just do 2 more and you'll get the idea. So let's go to orange again. And that one's good. And let's do 1 more yellow. Okay, so there's my embellished links, got those ready. And now I've got my 4mm jump rings here. Sorry, 5mm jump rings. 4 or 5, whichever you guys, they're gonna be fine. And just open that one up. And let's start with our bottom. So there's the bottom embellishment, those 2 there. Bring on the next one. And then close that up. Open another one of the smaller. So just gonna find the seam on that one. And link. There's a new one. And then when you link to the other one, just link to the top one we just added, the one with the single bead on it. One more. We're still doing okay. We're getting tight on time, but I always feel like I'm going to have all this extra time and then it just goes so fast. Okay, so there's, see, I'm just linking them like that to the last one. Bring on this one.
Barbara's wondering how many scallops are actually on your bracelet?
How many scallops? Oh yeah, I'll give you a count at the end here. And so to the top one I just added and then right onto the connector. Let's grab our connector here. And then you would just lock it on there. So that's the gist of it. I'm going to take this one and save it for my gold one. So I'm going to use that to finish up this one when I do it. So for now, let me just close that. But so yeah, you would just connect this to your connector. Just right there on the bottom. And that's all you got to do. So you got that done. And then easy on the other side, you just got to pop the lobster claw on using another jump ring. I actually did 2 jump rings for maneuverability. I went with 2 in that case. And if you really want to embellish it extra special, you can do just a really quick wrapped loop. Put a charm on there and you'll be able to get 2 things through that little connector. So let's count scallops really quick. This one has a few extra, then this one has a pair less. So I made this one a little shorter. I might add to it. Honestly, I might build up from it and make it a little bit longer because I didn't realize I'd shortened it. But so we've got, I'm going to count them as sets of increase, decrease. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 17 in this one. And remember that was our 7-inch. So 17 with the clasp on it and everything is going to give you 7 inches, and with your chain adjusts up to as big as 8 inches. And that's with 17 repeats and lots of extra beads. You'll have plenty. And then this one right here has 2 less than that, 2 less repeats. And that one is probably going to give me, let's just assume I put the clasp on it. Both sides. And that one will give me more like 6.5 or 6 and a little over a half. So 6 3/4 or so. And that all just depends on what closure you're doing. But if you're doing this closure, those are the measurements you'll probably get right around there. Yeah, so we are right on the button, right at the 1 o'clock mark in my Pacific time case. Yeah, so I'm hoping you guys are free next week. Next week we have a class that will complement this one. We made some really beautiful earrings. And those earrings, I'm going to just grab a set of them from behind me. In the case of this one, I made these to match my second colorway. Isn't that cool? That's so fun. And then I'm wearing the ones that match my future colorway that I haven't made yet. And then I have yet to make one to match this one too. So we'll get there. I'll make a bunch. And so if you're free next week, I'd love to see you for that class. In the meanwhile, I want to wish you happy beading and a great weekend ahead. Hope you have some sunny weather, some good weather. And I'll see you next week. Happy beading, guys.
See you guys.